what is up? You have found We Like the Blazers. I am Brandon Goldner, as always. And also, as always, I don't know why that would be any different. We also have someone else who is in a different state, different time zone, same country this time. It is, of course, your friend, my friend, Ryan Whitledge. Ryan, what's up, brother?
Not much. Apologize for the attire for anybody who's going to catch the visuals on this. This is called somebody's dead sprinting from the end of like an 11.5-hour day to make this podcast after he did get a relaxing day off on Monday because my boss said you've been through some shit. So I'm going to send you out on a charter fishing boat. And then, very crazy yesterday, very crazy today. Apparently I'm not allowed to take a day off because things hit the fan, but I'm here. So this is me in my extremely professional work attire.
Without going into details, it's always great to have responsibility over people that you do not directly supervise. I, on the other hand, am wearing my shady shirt. I don't even know if that picked up on camera. Who knows? It's hard to tell.
It did.
My Shade and Sharp jersey, which I apparently had not taken the tag off of yet, so very excited to debut that here. Ryan, before we get into basketball, do you have any inclination to talk about the wide world of politics? I know, listen, our dedicated fans are not here for anything other than Blazers talk, but it feels as though a lot has happened in
it's been a busy week.
American political arena. Do you have any appetite to touch on that, or what are you thinking?
I'm not, based off the number of like DMs that I've gotten from people that apparently do listen to our show or catch our YouTube thing, that have taken umbrage with the fact that my Twitter is somewhat devoid of Blazers content, because I feel as though, and while basketball is a passion of mine,
happening is the thing.
There's other more important stuff going on, and we're in a 100-day stretch of some things. So it depends. I'll let you lead this ship, and I will give you whatever commentary that comes to mind on it.
Okay, so spoiler alert, my brother and I once had a podcast called Remember Poli Sci. Ryan, it's back. We brought it back because the news is too big not to record. So soon.
I would like to guest. I want to guest.
You will. I was thinking about that. Actually, I actually thought that yesterday, had you shown up, you would have actually gone into the Zoom room where we were. You would have just been a magical guest without you even knowing it. But listen, it's unprecedented for an American presidential candidate to bow out of the race after they have become the presumptive nominee. That's exactly what happened when Joe Biden dropped out of the race. Whether you like him or don't like him or want to support him or anyone else, it's unprecedented. It's quite weird. And then we saw very quickly the Democratic Party.
Also a president. Backtrack a little bit. A presidential assassination attempt.
It's even, there's been so much happening that even that gets lost in the sauce. Yes. So many unprecedented things happening, and all to say, if you want more like political talk on that, check out Remember Poli Sci with Brandon and Alex Goldner. That's where you're going to get it. But yeah, Ryan, any thoughts from you? Because you were not guesting on that podcast.
It just, this last like 2 weeks, the fact, like, just to think about that a week and some change ago, a presidential nominee, regardless of your thoughts, feelings, or whatever political affiliation, there was an attempted assassination on him. And it is not a week and change later.
By the way, that we don't want that. We don't, political assassination is not a good thing to have anywhere and not here.
We like the Blazers anti-assassination, just to get that platform out there.
Big hot take there. We don't like political candidates to be assassinated. That's not great for democracy or for anybody.
But to think that a week and some change later, like that's still not anywhere near headline news is just so flabbergasting to me. And I think it just goes to show like how, also then, regardless of how you feel about today's media landscape, I have my own complaints about it in certain aspects, but like how instant and now everything is, and the next thing will always come along. And so like since Joe Biden stepped down, there's a lot of debate about how that would go. You and I had our differences via text on that. If it did happen, I'm glad to see that it's playing out as it is, that there is a coalescence behind, and it does seem like maybe that was somewhat orchestrated in the background, in the event that this did happen, whatever. I'm glad to see it's going that way. But like, for anybody on the right or the left, for however you want to vote, just don't take, like, I'll be more than happy to come on your podcast and tell somebody how I very much feel as though they should vote, but don't take like this enthusiasm for the Kamala Harris now being the presumptive nominee and Joe Biden stepping down. Don't take that enthusiasm for granted. If those beliefs are important to you, just know that like this is a first stepping stone, and don't be like, okay, great, we're solid now. Nobody liked Biden before, but everybody likes Kamala, so we should be fine. And maybe I won't fill out this ballot, or maybe I'll do this. Just there's a process to politics. You got to keep it going, keep the momentum rolling. There's going to be ebbs and flows. But at the end of the day, when you make your decision, when you make your choice, when you make your voice heard by using your American right to vote, you need to make sure that that enthusiasm is maintained and that there's no waning in it. That's my big takeaway from the week. That's what I got, that I can be as apolitical on this podcast as possible.
I'll slide in one more thing to say that America, the United States of America, comma, the United States of, is unique around the world in how old its leaders are. You do analysis of all of the different functioning democracies, and America's leaders are quite old. And I do think you had plenty of people who said, I don't want to vote for either of these two guys. And look, like Kamala Harris, I mean, she's in her late 50s. It's not like she's like super ultra young. But the fact that she can string 2, 3, 4, 5 sentences together, Ryan, it's exciting to me. Like, and I do think that there are people who are not going to vote who might consider voting, who might give her a look. And I think, again, regardless of political party, I think having a government that represents the country in national origin, in gender, in sexual expression, in age, in all
bodily autonomy
is good. Yeah. That is a good thing, and I do think that's what we get from this. Okay, that's enough about politics. If you want more, go to, actually, there is no website for that. Just check out Remember Poli Sci. What a wonderful podcast. But Ryan, we're here to talk about the Blazers. Even before we do that, you had a topic you want to hit about. So this is great. This is like the most non-Blazers podcast we've done. It's about the landscape of NBA media rights. Ryan, what has been happening in the last couple of weeks? I've heard about Amazon. I've heard about TNT. I've heard about matching rights and, they didn't actually match and they matched something else. And now we're going to sue you and how dare you and all this stuff and bring back Chuck and Kenny. So what is happening right now?
Well, everything I was going to say, you just summed up, and you're like, I've heard this. So I
kept it so high level on purpose.
The NBA media rights, like the NBA has been hanging their hat on that. This media rights deal is going to get done. Everybody has assumed that when details started getting leaked, and that's what happened, I want to say about like 2-3 weeks ago, is that we started getting a picture like, NBC was getting back into the mix on things. And it was going to be very much like here's a, Sunday, Tuesday. Dude, I cannot be more excited. If they change the music in any way, shape, or form, I riot.
I heard that John Tesh, isn't he the composer, is like working on. So I think we're good. I think we're keeping it. I think it's
no. I don't want the updated version. What the very first broadcast? If you're gonna okay, here's how you do it. Real quick, segue here. Or side note, if you're gonna do it, you start with the old school like.
And then you transition
and you make it, and then you slowly transition into the new. That is the best way that you can do it. That's the only way you can do it. If you just hit us with something new, no, not going to like it. Give me that slow build into the new music if you're going to refresh it that way.
Nostalgia sells.
X-Men 97. It was popular for a reason.
This, I mean, maybe the phrase Rip City's been around, but that typeface, I mean, again, nostalgia sells. It just does.
Yeah. And so all these different networks and whatnot threw their hat into the ring. And the big one that was left off that had been slightly rumored for a while was that would TNT and Turner be able to match? And so when all those deals were leaked, it was stated that TNT Turner would have the right to match an offer. Which offer they were going to match, it wasn't entirely sure. But with how the packaging had come out, like Amazon had Thursdays Tuesdays and Thursdays. It was the most obvious one. It does strike me as odd to get in a bidding war with Amazon because I feel as though that company has endless money.
I don't think it's not a bidding war. It's that, so you tell me if I'm wrong about this. My understanding is that TNT interpreted the match rights that they paid for in the last deal as being able to match whatever they wanted, right? Mm-hmm. I think the NBA is interpreting their match rights as, no, you have the right to match the same package that you had before. They didn't match that. I'm not even sure that was something that was like cut up in a way that they could have potentially matched that. Ryan, this is going to the courts. That's all I'm saying.
No, it will go to the courts. My understanding is that they matched the offer that Amazon made. So they have at least matched that. And they are trying to hang their hat on.
Not what Adam Silver said.
In all honesty, I am going off the TNT Sports, release of what they did. Okay,
Ryan's a big biased TNT. He's a big Turner over there.
But here's the thing. Let's take these matching offers away. I have always thought it would be a absolutely boneheaded mistake if the NBA lets NBA on TNT disappear. There are so many people that I know of in my own personal life, and we have also all heard anecdotal stories about that exist out in the world to where they don't necessarily tune into those games for the games. They tune into it for the commentary of those individuals. That is a very iconic brand. And I think one of the best groupings, like it was a little rocky when, when Shaq first got involved, but they grew through it. But I think that is one of the most iconic sports groupings of sports commentators where you can build an audience and also get an audience either directly on the games, secondhand via YouTube, TikTok, all that kind of crap, and build excitement, build momentum where they're talking about your sport and just doing humorous things or having bits. That is like the most brilliant thing for sports. That is probably the number one sports broadcasting show that has brought more fans into a sport than anything in our lifetimes. To let that walk away would be completely asinine. Do I understand that the NBA is money hungry and greedy? Yes. But at the bare minimum, regardless of who's saying what, if it does come out to be true that TNT/Turner did actually match Amazon's offer, I think the NBA would be idiotic to not take it.
Well, okay, a couple thoughts here. First of all, just to be clear, the NBA statement says, quote, Warner Brothers Discovery's most recent proposal did not match the terms of Amazon Prime's videos offer. Therefore, we've entered into a long-term agreement with Amazon. So that's point number one. Point number two, I do think that what's behind this is that you had people from TNT and the NBA were probably talking about this for a very long time beforehand, saying, hey, what do you want to do? What do you want to pay? And look, regardless of your feeling, Ryan, I'm curious what you think about this. At the time, TNT said, we don't want to pay that much, right? And they let Amazon put in a bid that was more substantial than theirs, which is so like, what we're seeing publicly is the tip of the iceberg of the conversations that have happened behind the scenes. I have no doubt in my mind, the NBA doesn't give a shit. Money is green. They don't care. If TNT had been like, yes, we're going to pay for the amount that you want and, NBA is made whole and blah, 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 like the NBA would be like, great. But that's not what TNT did. So what say you to that argument?
I agree with that. I do believe that TNT did take for granted their market share and position and then that they're a known commodity and their popularity. And I do think that they thought in their negotiating quote
they thought
unquote
that the
wisdom,
NBA was going to be soft with them because they're so fucking popular. Is that what you're saying basically? And like,
that's it. That's and fair, then when it turned out to not be true, but now
and I'm correct. Sure that I'm sure the NBA told them that is all I'm saying.
Well, no, and that's fine. And I think that this was an attempt to call their bluff, and it failed. And now this is a tit for tat on did we match or did you not match of
it
narrative.
Depends on what the meaning of is. This is Bill Clinton all over again, Ryan. Like, match. What does match mean, right?
Anyway,
because clearly,
I will say, public perception wise, and from a publicity standpoint, there is zero way that TNT can roll out the message that they are currently rolling out and lose. And I do think the NBA could cave to some pressure on that. If they're not going to lose out on, I'll say if it's within like a 0.2 of a billion, which insane fucking figures to think about, but still that's where we're at. If it's within 0.2 of a billion, I think you got to take TNT's thing. Otherwise, it's bad fucking press. It's bad press.
Okay. You're sort of changing my mind, and here's why. It's because there is a dollar figure you can put onto the value that TNT provides by bringing people in. Mostly because of Charles Barkley and Ernie, those two. It's Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley. Kenny, you can rotate anyone else between those two. And
by the way, those are people that have said that they will. Like Ernie has said that he will stay at TNT, and Barkley has said if this is done, I'm out. So there's not a chance of those guys moving over to any of these other bidders and platforms.
Well, Adam Silver's comments about Charles Barkley tend to disagree, but leaving that part aside, my point, I think, is what you're saying. TNT, there is a monetary value that they provide by bringing in new fans, which is not captured only in the dollar amount that TNT pays for the media rights. For example, let's say that TNT, because their show is so good and interesting and memeable and shareable, let's say they bring in an extra, I don't know, like 50,000 fans a year or some bullshit like that. And then you calculate over the lifetime of that fan going to games, buying merchandise, right? Paying for NBA League Pass, that TNT is providing disproportionate value, which an Amazon Prime cannot. Now, I do think that there's an argument to be made there. And by the way, it's the same argument I've made about like, hey, it's kind of why, the Portland Trailblazers should really be acquiescing Damian Lillard because he has a disproportionate impact on a small franchise. But all to say, it's all messy. It's not great. And actually, the more I think about it, the more I think I agree with you. Damn it, I hate it. But
I love it. I'm back in the zone. Got my mojo back.
You got it. I do think the NBA basically said, TNT, please give us enough money. And they said no. And this is the result. So that part, I think that is what happened, really.
I totally agree. And I don't know. It's kind of sad that it's coming down to, this is going to go to the courts. The flip side, too, is that, for the seasons in which we're talking about, I don't think this shit will be done and out of the courts by then. So there is a possible impact on that. So here's the thing. Know. Imagine that this goes to litigation
because this smells like a settlement to me. I think it's, I don't think it's going to be fully arbitrated.
I would hope so. But because if this went to the courts, I can totally see, Barkley and Shaq being like, I'm not just going to wait around. Fuck this. And then when they come to a deal, be like, yeah, we're already out. We're done. We're good. And then not coming back. And then you've lost, 2/5 of the popularity of that show. So it does behoove everyone to bring this to a settlement. It sucks to see that this is so publicly happening with two entities that have been so intertwined throughout a vast portion of our lifetime. So I think yeah.
Yeah,
the NBA
it's sad.
would be.
Mom and dad are fighting, and we don't like it, do we? Like the kids are crying. No. Come on, mom and dad, just stop fighting. But
the NBA would be smart to figure this out and keep TNT.
Well, I don't think they're going to. So, although as an Amazon Prime member.
Well, I'm an Amazon Prime and a Max member, so nothing affected me here. It's going to be on one of mine. Which color box do I click?
Anything else on that before we move on?
No. Just please, Adam Silver, get your head out of your ass.
All right. Second and final topic, I think. Wait, did you have another topic?
I did not.
We are in the dog days of summer, my friend. I went on a run today.
Do we want to recap Trailblazers Summer League?
Shit, I feel like so many people have already done that. I feel like we missed the boat on it.
Because I didn't watch a damn bit of it, so I got nothing.
Jesus, Donovan Clingan is the real deal.
He set a record.
Well, that's all we give a shit about. So good job.
And by the way, when somebody sets a record in the NBA, if you want to make me click on the article, at least tell me what he set the record for so that I have to click the article to see what the number is. It was all of the headlines and everything that I saw were so vague of Donovan Clingan breaks NBA Summer League record.
Did a thing. You're like, what did he do?
Yes, basically that. And I'm like, what the fuck did he do? Like he could have, because like there have been, I'm so bitter. There have been so many articles over the years throughout all of sports that I follow where it's like player does this for the first time, and you find out they were the first player to have that 7-number stat line. In only that number of minutes. So I was so averse to clicking on it.
Landscape, Brian.
Yes, and I hate it. It's clickbaity, and effing figure it out. Just tell me what the record is that he set and make me click on the article to find out the number.
Well, okay. So communications director Ryan Whitledge over here. I think that's fair. Okay. So speaking of the Blazers and speaking of people who will figure into their long-term plans and will contribute to this, the over-unders for the NBA, different sports books are setting different lines, whether you're looking at BetMGM, whether you're looking at Caesars sports books. I'm looking at this list, Ryan, and I want your reaction to this. I sent you the link to it. You can look at it yourself.
I am refusing to click on it. I'm refusing to click on it.
Your Portland Trailblazers are firmly in second to last in the NBA with somewhere between 21.5 and 22.5. Actually, most of them are 21.5. Less than 22 wins next year, Ryan. What do you think about this? I have an opinion. What's your opinion? Because the only team lower is the Brooklyn Nets, who have every reason to tank now that they have their picks back from Houston, having traded away Mikal Bridges at 19.5. Less than 22 games. That's where the money's going on the Blazers next year. What do you think about this?
I got a couple mortgage payments I'd be willing to put down on the less, and I'd actually take an alternate of. I would go on the under. I'd be more than willing to take an.
Talk me through this.
No. I'd be more than willing to take the alternate of
this
under
is a podcast.
20.
You have to talk
Under 20.
So talk me through. So okay, let me actually don't talk me through. I'm gonna throw out some hypotheticals at you. The Blazers roster as it stands today, which includes people like Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Denny Abdia, all, like a second-year Scoot, third-year Shaedon Sharpe. Brian, if the Blazers make no trades, do they still hit the under on less than 22 wins if they make no trades?
Yes.
You think the Blazers are going under 22 wins if they don't make any more trades?
Yes, because I think they understand the assignment. It has been half-ass tanking.
Brian,
we saw.
Blazers won. What did they win? What was last year? They won 21 games. That's not half-ass. That's whole ass. That's the entire. That's both cheeks and the anus. Like that's a lot.
That was a half-ass tank. I think you will see.
That's pretty big. Pretty big.
I think you will see the tanking of all tanks. This is capture the flag. This is the year.
Okay, let me disagree.
No. Let me put it to you this way.
Yeah.
This is the draft. If you can walk away with Cooper Flagg, so you need to do everything in your power to give yourself the best chance to land the number 1 pick and walk away with Cooper Flagg. If you walk away with Cooper Flagg after Scoot Henderson, let me go in chronological order here. After Shaedon Sharpe, after Scoot Henderson, after Donovan Clingan, add Cooper Flagg, your rebuild's done. You start adding assets and growing them. Your rebuild's done. This is the tank of all tanks. And I think everybody in management on this organization knows that.
Here's the problem, Ryan.
If you don't tank properly this year, you are relegating this franchise to probably another 4 years of this rebuild. Needlessly.
You're not wrong. You're also, I believe, it feels almost like you're ignoring the context of the question, which is if they make no trades, Ryan, if they make no trades, this team is way better than last year.
If they
Denny
make no
Avdia
trades,
is better than Malcolm Brogdon. Scoot year 2, Shaden year 3. Clingan is a rotation player. Robert Williams might even be healthy. We have no idea. Anthony Simons is probably not going to get injured the first day. The first game.
Anthony Simons can have back spasms. Jeremy Grant can have back spasms. DeAndre Ayton can have back spasms.
This team is better than they were last year, and they're going to get more than 22 minutes.
Let me put it to you
with no trades.
This team with no trades, Anthony Simons, DeAndre Ayton, and Jeremy Grant would all play significantly less minutes than they played last year.
Yeah, I guess I don't agree with that because I don't know. So Jeremy Grant's paid. I guess DeAndre Ayton's paid. Anthony Simons at some point has a contract coming up. Like, there are very few NBA players who are willing to punt an entire season healthy. Like, it doesn't really happen that often.
It's a promise down the road. We can trade in the offseason of this team. We're going to work on this deal, backroom deal. You know, you stay healthy. So they get a fully energized and all that.
That would be unprecedented. If that happens, if you're right, if they make no trades.
It happens all the time in the league.
If that happens if multiple veteran NBA players who have a fiduciary interest to maximize their own personal value are willing to cut into their own stats and like healthy scratch from the beginning of the season, that will be unprecedented. So
I'm not saying beginning. I'm saying you'll probably see like a steady rotation of some of these vets. You know, somebody has something lingering. They're maybe missing, you know, the first 4 out of 10 games. The next guy down the list is missing the next, 3 out of 5 games. Stuff like that.
You also, I think, underestimate the ego of NBA players. Like, most players generally want to play.
I don't underestimate the ego of them. That is why I am also backing this up with saying that it's not going to be we're asking you to play like ass. It's going to be stuff like this where it's not major injuries. It's nagging stuff that can be explained away. There are agents and GMs out there that do come to deals with like, hey, this is a rebuilding season. That we know that we know that you're not going to be here long term. We can work behind the scenes to get you to where you want to go. We can start that now. But in that process, here's what we need from you. Is that ethical in sports? Probably not. Does it happen? Fuck yes, it does. So if there were not backroom deals that were already being worked out for Anthony Simons and DeAndre Ayton about like, hey, here's how we're thinking this is going to go. We'll get you set up for where you want to go. You guys are already under contract and have made money. Here is how we're going to do this so you can continue to make money and go to a place you want to go. But here's what we're going to request of you right now.
You know who they're not going to do
dealing like that?
They're not going to do that with Donovan Clingan. They're not going to do that with Shaden Sharp. They're not going to do that with Scoot Henderson. And all three of those players make this team better, even if you ignore everything else. Because Scoot, the second half of Scoot's season portends that he is not going to be the worst player in the NBA as he was in the first half of the season. Shaden Sharp, if he doesn't get injured,
not going to be the
looks like a sub all-star player.
Donovan Clingan looks like an immediate
defensive impact. So, like, all I'm trying to say is I gave you so much runway, and here you are interrupting me. All I'm saying is that, like, if they make no trades, I would put, $1,000 or 15 crabs or 1 hat with you on a bet that this team will win more than 22 games if they don't trade any of those players. Now, having said that, you are right.
I will take a hat bet.
Okay. Having said that, you are right. This team has every reason to tank. This team has no reason to maximize their wins. I do believe that Joe Cronin, Mike Schmitz, Bert Cole, Jody Allen, whoever else is in the brain trust, needs to be comfortable with maybe not getting the return that they expect from players like Anthony Simons, like Jeremy Grant, because it is so important that they tank. That to me is, you could keep them, sit them. I think that the more players you get to say, hey, we're going to hold you out for 10 games, 15 games, it gets complicated. It gets weird. And again, some people do want to play. But if they trade them for slightly less than they think they may be worth in order to get them off the team, drain the talent, get that win total down, the rewards for the franchise are immense. So that's what I'll say. This line to me, okay, let me ask you this. Do you think this line was set assuming that they would trade players or assuming that they would not trade players?
I think this line was set with no trades in mind.
Really? All right, man. I don't know, brother. I just listen. You could be right. I've been wrong so much, and you've been right sometimes.
Well, I mean, Vegas isn't stupid either, and so like you have to try to play on public perception, and I don't think there's massive public perception that Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton are going to be traded. I think there's maybe a massive public perception that one will be. But so these lines are set to Vegas. There's only
Jeremy
one person
Grant.
in history. There's only one person in history
has been Jeremy Grant, right? Like that's the one you've heard the most.
There's only one person in history that has lost money running a casino, and he is not the one currently setting these lines. So I'm going to trust these lines, and that these line makers know what they're doing.
He's such an incredible businessman, Ryan. He's so great. Oh, God.
But that's where I stand. Vegas isn't dumb. It's not only based off statistics going, right? And models and whatever.
Teams like Portland, their win totals in Vegas are going to be deflated a little bit because we have like 5 fans. Whereas teams like the Lakers are going to be inflated because they have a lot of people who are interested in them and put money on them.
And there's also the smart betting technique of, and this is not a endorsement of gambling, but the smart
Tannen's Almanac and being able to.
Yes, that is number one. But number 2 is always fade the public's dumb. And so if they set this line at 21.5 and the public is taking the over, yeah, I'm going to take the under because they know why they set that line and they knew where money would come in at.
So I feel clear in my thinking. If they don't make a trade, they will go over. They will. There is no amount of holding people out that can. Yeah. Now this is catastrophic.
So what's the no final line here? What are we setting our hat bet at? You got to give a half win somewhere. Are we going to set it at 22.5 or 21.5? I need the hook.
I don't want to make a bet because they might trade people. I mean, if you want to put a contingency that it's if they don't trade anyone, I'll make that bet.
And I'll just take
the line. I'll take the line 22.5.
I think at bare minimum, one of those 3 will be gone. So I can't take it on if there's no trade.
There's no bet. I'm just saying, like, listen, if no one's traded from this team,
I want a
22-win team. I'm sure that you do, Ryan. Is there anything else you want to get to before we skedaddle out of here like a Texas sombrero? I don't know what that is.
Nope. I think that about wraps it up.
That about wraps it up. And if you want to wrap it up with us, you can always do that at WeLikeTheBlazers.com. Find us on Twitter at LikeTheBlazers, me at GoldenPDX, him at The Witty Ryan. We are so proud to be a part of the Rogue Media Podcast Network, along with Trail Daddy with Dave Deffert and the Rip City Roundtable with Corey Dickman. I should know that. Also, check out Remember Poli Sci. There's so many things to say. That's it. We love you. Go Blazers. And we'll just see about these Vegas lines. I don't know. Okay, I messed up my outro, but go Blazers, nothing else.
Go Blazers.